I used to have very severe outbreaks, pimple outbreaks, when I was younger, in my grade school and high school days, and they were very bad, mostly around my forehead and my chin, my lips. The worst was on my back. That was the most painful. And the one I hated most were the very deep pimples I would get on my nose, right where it curves, the nostrils curve. They would be very deep and painful, and they would take months to go away. Now pimples are big social inhibitors. I'm not gonna lie and say they don't affect how people interpret each other, how people see each other. Pimples can make people look ugly, but for the most part, no one is really paying attention to what's on other people's faces. Unless it's very pronounced, something that's you can see all the way across the room. And it's one of those big blister type pimples that are deep, but for the most part, people don't pay much attention to pimples unless they are particularly studying your face, or one has popped and is oozing pimples. Yeah, other people's pimples can make you disgusted. The bad thing about pimples is they make you feel self-conscious, and they affect the way you interact with people in a negative way. They inhibit your interaction with people. I really haven't solved the mystery of the origins of pimple. I don't, despite considering it much throughout my life, what is the cause of pimple? Where does it come from? I haven't solved the mystery, and I really can't say it's related to one thing or another. I've had pimples all throughout my life while adopting many different sorts of diets. I mean, I tried every diet imaginable, and I never had a moment, a period where pimples did not exist, where I can point to a specific way of eating and say pimples are caused or not caused by this way of eating or way of not eating. And even lifestyle, I'm not sure if it has a big impact on pimples. On the prospect of getting pimples. You can be very active and still get pimples, while you can also be inactive and not get pimples at all. So the relationship between pimples and junk food escapes me. I haven't seen any yet. I haven't identified any, but I am sure I can assert for certain that junk food does, particular junk food does increase the severity of pimples, and what not just junk food but also other kind of foods too. I would order the junk food in terms of having a negative effect on your clarity, and this way I would order them. First would be greasy foods, then pop, sugary drinks, eggs stirred, then chocolate bars, and lastly, acidic food, greasy food, and sugary drinks are the worst. Grease and sugar are a very bad combination for your skin. Now, I don't know why again, whether it's because there's impurities circulating the blood in the blood, whether there's fat, excess fat, unprocessed fat in the blood that travels and clogs those little veins. I forgot what you call them, or if it's bacterial dirt on the surface of skin. It's seems to be completely unsolvable as to what is the defining factor that makes the pimples. And another thing to note is age. With age, it something interesting happens. I'm not sure what it is, whether those little branches of veins, again I forget the terms for them, whether they die out and reduce your chances of getting pimples, because I've noticed pimples have gotten less and less with me getting older. There comes a time when pimples are actually look appealing on a person within a certain age. I think in the 30s and maybe the 40s, because they indicate youth. So they might actually make a person look better, but On the other hand, I have read that if you had severe pimples outbreak on your back, it's an indication of bad health. And I definitely had really bad covering of pimples on my back when I was a teenager. But an interesting thing happened to me when I stopped eating junk food. All the pimples on my back cleared out, and I never had the pimples on my back, maybe one or two once a year, but that's it. Sometimes none a year. So that's something to take into consideration when you're eating junk food. But again, there is no factor that can be emphasized more than another. I don't think there is. But the key, I think, is balance. Balance, not to overdo the junk foods, not to overdo eating eggs, and what I found as well in terms of eggs, not to underdo eating eggs as well. I went to the dollar store the other day and got me some more chocolate bars. The O. Henry Reese's Pieces, and this one I never tried before, dairy milk. I'm gonna start with the O. Henry. I kind of forgot what the difference between O. Henry and Mr. Big is. Recall it's a wafer based chocolate bar. A chocolate bar with a wafer core and the sugary filling. I smell some peanuts. I don't remember if there's peanuts or not. This obviously is much smaller than Mr. Big, but it looks very similar. Okay, so I was wrong. This has no wafer in it. It's wafer free. It has no powdery sugar filling. That's only Mr. Big. But this I can tell about it right now is that it's much more flavorful than Mr. Big, and it's more tasty for sure. The caramel, and it has a toffee like layer. In this case, both are recognizable. It's chewy, and basically a bar of whole peanuts. Very similar to Snickers, just a different shape. I don't get the hint of staleness that I got with Mr. Big. I like this chocolate bar. It has a good taste to me, and it's enjoyable. Not as filling as Mr. Big, but it's more enjoyable flavor wise. Now, Reese's Pieces held a special place with me back then. To me, this was too precious. To overeat because it was so good. So I tended avoiding cramming as much as these as I can down, or making them as accessible as the other chocolate bars, because when I ate this, I wanted it to be a special moment. There's some things you don't want to overdo, you don't want to take for granted, and these are the chocolate bars that I held this special honor for. When I would eat Reese's Pieces, I would savor every bite. Yep, smells like peanuts. Very intense aroma. Very rich, somewhat salty, a bit too salty. I think I know why I felt that way before. Because just too much salt. I had the feeling I could overdose on salt. It feels very rich. Yeah, this something you can instinctively know that you don't want to overeat. The taste is just like granulated sugar mixed with peanut butter and a sprinkle of salt. Sort of acts like a candy because you want to suck on it and dissolve that salt that's in it. But in terms of my affection for it, it's not very desirable. I had no preconceived notion about what it's gonna be, Reese's Pieces was gonna be. But now that I have tried it, found out what it is, I can objectively say it is not something I like. It's very overpowering, and individual combination of flavors are overpowering. The peanuts are overpowering. The sugar is overpowering, and the salt is overpowering. The chocolate, it was a very small hint of it. Now, dairy milk, this might be just ordinary milk chocolate, I'm not sure. It's the first time I tried this chocolate bar. What caught me was the image of it. This milk jug seems to indicate that it has some kind of milk filling, and yeah, I kind of bought into the perception this image gave. Certainly has no resemblance to the image on the packaging. Looks like ordinary milk chocolate segments joined together. And The reveal is it is milk chocolate. Very good one. It has the richness that chocolate fat usually removes from normal cheap chocolate bars, which make the chocolate quickly expirable. It has the sense of the chocolate fat, natural chocolate fat, which make this a good chocolate bar. It's one of those chocolates you wanna punch up in your mouth and spread the slithery layer all around your mouth, so the goodness of it permeates completely throughout your mouth, and that silky texture it melts into. You can submerge your senses in. It's a very good plain milk chocolate, and I have no problem indulging in that chocolate bar. That's a keeper when for use when I feel like having a plain old milk chocolate bar, which to be honest, uh, I don't have often this desire to have plain milk chocolate is not a frequent occurrence. What if I want to go for the rich and creamy chocolate experience, I would pursue chocolate specialty chocolate shop where they work on the chocolate fresh and preserve the natural chemicals of chocolate, of cocoa, as much as possible while forming their chocolatey creations, usually they're in the form of bonbons.